Welcome back to the F1 2017 career mode, everyone. We're in China for part number 2. And thank you for the feedback on the first episode. Really do appreciate that. As stated, round number 2, the McLaren Honda, the grind continues. This one's probably not going to be as good as, well, I say as good as Australia. Obviously, China, known for that massive back straight. And with our GP2 engine, I think we're going to be struggling a little bit. So we've got one more week left on the engine power, the development. It's not like 2016 where you do it and it's, oh yeah, next race, here you go. So there's actually, development time, and then that's the period in which it can fail. But we see there's going to be an upgrade, and then the next one along will allow us to branch out our path a little bit when it comes to the actual engine development. But we'll jump into practice. I mentioned about the grind. It's time to grind out those resource points so we can continue to improve this car. Track acclimatization, nice and smashed. 50 resource points. Job's a good one. Tyre management test, did pretty poor on the first lap, but when I realised the points in which you can really easily increase the bar, it's about worrying about those areas. So there we go, second time of asking. 50 points, once again, fantastic work, bag those. Fuel management, this one's tough. This is a very tough program no matter where you go, so literally as you can see, I practically crawled around the final corner and tried to bring it up as much as I could going up to the line by lifting and coasting, but that was that. Now I'm in the qualifying pace program, decided to have a little bit of fun right at the end of this one. Kimi Räikkönen blast past me on the straight, bit of rich mix, DRS in the slipstream of the Ferrari. Can we relive the gloryism of the McLaren? No, can we? Nope. Can't make them all down the inside, over the curb, and we're past Kimi Räikkönen. Figured I'd, have a little bit of a play around, seeing as it's going to be a long time until we're racing the Ferraris. One day we'll get there. One day we will. Just no time soon. But that's the green score for the qualifying. That to get 50 points in the qualifying pace program is really hard in this year's game. Like, the expectation is so much higher. And here is the race simulation program. This one's a pretty easy one. I quite like the race one. It's pretty much a guaranteed 50 resource points for that one there. So you can see we get the optimal pace there. And then we're going to jump into qualifying. Going to go over a little bit of the setup here. I didn't see any questions for it, but I found that in practice, I found the rear was like the understeer through some of the longer corners. So I brought the rear downforce down to match the front, so hopefully that will result in a more balanced setup and less understeer, sort of adjusting a few of the rear options there, because it felt weird. This car felt very skittish on the rear, and I need a bit more stability so you can plant the power a hell of a lot earlier. So here we go, this is our one and only qualifying lap. After this weekend, I do remove the short qualifying because 12 minutes is not very long at all. We're a second down in the first sector because it's quite power orientated. Second sector, where it's chassis based, we only lost it. Well, I say we only lost 9/10. That's basically a second. But we pretty much, like I say, we're trying to fight for the wooden spoon amongst the between Alonso and the Saubers. Exit the final corner, DRS open across the line. It's 3.5 seconds off the current front running pace, and then I hit end session, and we got lost. We got a nice solid last place, 7/10 off of Alonso, so a bit disappointing, but we'll see what we can do in the race. So here's the strategy. It's telling me to go super soft to mediums for a one-stop. But if you have a little look in the top right there, we've got some rain forecast for right at the end of this Grand Prix. So I'm figuring, how can I convert this into a two-stop and preempt the rain? So what we're going to do, I don't change it on this strategy selection screen because it's a bit pointless too, because you can always change it on the fly. So in my head, I'm thinking we'll pit for soft tyres at the first pit stop, and they should run us until sort of, final 10 laps, which is when the rain is expected to come. I mean, I'm so annoyed the McLaren is so slow, because it's such a nice looking car. Two of the best looking cars are the Sauber and the McLaren, but now we build to those 5 red lights. Lights are out, away we go, and we've got a fantastic launch compared to the Saubers. Wehrlein slow, Ericsson even slower. We're up past, coming up to near Ericsson, reaching that top end. We're going to go down the inside nice and cautiously. Do the long sweeping right-hander, everyone bunching together. The AI are usually pretty slow in here. We're going to try and chuck it down the inside of both Renault cars. We got up on the grass, though, a little bit. That hindered our progress. Can we carry it around the outside? Palmer squeezes us out onto the curb there. That's going to give Alonso a run on us. So we've dropped back down into 17th position. Can we do anything into turn 6 as the field bunches up? Very cautious, very slow. We're going to dive it down there. not go too drastic, otherwise we would have T-boned Carlos Sainz. But we're back up past both Renault cars and we're up into 14th place. I doubt we'll stay here, but it's good to see on the opening lap we can still be punchy and aggressive and gain some of those positions, because that puts us in a good stead for the early part of the race. I find that the early parts of the race with this McLaren car are going to be basically get ahead as many people as you can in the first couple of laps, and then it's just hope and pray you can defend, which on a track like this with a very long straight is going to be very difficult. But we'll always see what we can do. Obviously, we've got the two Renault-powered Toro Rossos in front of us, and we have the two Renault-powered Renaults behind us. The Renault was never known to be great, but it's a damn sight better than this McLaren Honda. As we see now, Sainz pulls away. We look back. Hulkenberg is coming behind us. He pulls to the inside. But the only benefit I can see here is we can be later on the brakes due to our lack of top-end speed. But Hulkenberg's done really well there to force us out. Can we try and get better traction than him? He's completely done us down the inside and set himself up really well for the final corner. We're going to take the bollard out lap 1 because no one needs to see that. No one needs to see that bollard. The sooner we get rid of that, the better. Apologies, someone who's just driven past on a bike ridiculously fast. But here we go. Start at lap 2. First corner, like I said, the AI goes slow. We take a wide line, get it nice and tight, keep squirting the throttle on. We force Hulkenberg out, get him off of the line that he wanted to take. And we have gone through back up into 14th position. So, yeah, the AI still struggle there around that sort of area, but we have capitalised on that and we will continue to do so while this McLaren is very down on power. Now, lap 3, DRS is open and Hulkenberg is going to use full effect of the DRS. I mean, he's not got it this lap, but he will have it next time around maybe as he once again gets ahead of us. But once again, through the turn 1 into turn 2, we keep it down the inside, and the longer we can keep doing that, the more we can retain the position. The field also hasn't got away as much as I thought they would. I mean, this car is slow, don't get me wrong, so you're going to see it here in the straight line. We pull across to the right-hand side, make Hulkenberg go the long way round. If he can, we brake very late. We put ourselves out of position a little bit here. We're going to get minimal traction on the curb. Hulkenberg's going to get it. He's going to be round the outside. Well, he's done us before the corner even starts there, so we'll see if we can pull our trick as we have done. DRS wide open. Can we stay with him is the question, because we can't perform miracles around the first corner. We can try if we can. We're going to try and chuck it in. Can we get back past Hulkenberg? We've got him. Can we? He's just, no, still, even from that far back. So maybe the AI are going to need a little bit of tweaking in the opening sector. They were bad in that sector on last year's game, and it doesn't appear to have improved on this year's game in any way. But now we jump further into lap 4 a bit abruptly as Hulkenberg has decided to attack us in the chicane before this back straight. He's got the inside line. We're forced to go up higher. Hulkenberg has done us. Can we get into the slipstream and try and do anything that will help us down this back straight? The rich mix is open. Hulkenberg's got DRS, however, and I think he's going to have done us. However, we have managed to get into the 190 miles an hour, which is round down the inside from a long way back on the brakes. We've done the exact same thing we did last time around, and Hulkenberg is going to get us once again. He drives straight past us, and I think now we're way too far behind, so he's done us there. He's going to drive off into the distance and see what he can do with the rest of his Grand Prix. We're still ahead of one of the Renaults though, so it's good to see that, you know, we're not just fighting the Saubers and Fernando Alonso. You can see here we closed up to Hulkenberg. This is just the point I'm proving about the AI in this first corner. They could really do with some improvements, but no, as you can see, Hulkenberg has done me there, and he's going to go off into the distance, and it's now about keeping Palmer behind us if we can. Few cars coming in, so these are the cars that are going to be on the 2, maybe the 3-stop strategy as we meet our old mate from Saturday, Kimi Raikkonen. We go round the outside of him. It's interesting to see that the Ferrari has pulled an entire pit stop on us in what was 6 laps. That's basically shows the performance difference here. And we're going to see it quite clearly here on this little back straight section before the chicane. Raikkonen's going to send it down the inside. No real point in fighting this one too much because we all know the answer. Plus, he would have just got me on the straight. So rather than wasting time trying to force him out or anything like that, we might as well just let him go. And now we have Esteban Ocon behind us in the Force India, and he's got Mercedes power. So this one is pretty conclusive how this is going to go. Yep, he's already doing about 200 just there. And see you, Esteban. You'll notice here, though, that we can close up quite nicely on the brakes versus even some of these top-tier cars. So that's good piece of information we can use when we're actually going to be able to fight the top guys. A few laps later, here comes Lewis Hamilton. Now, I'm not as big a fan of Lewis Hamilton, so I'm not going to give him the same sort of, you know, buy that I gave Kimi Räikkönen. I'm going to fight Lewis. I'm going to make him work to get past me, so I'm going to cost him times there, push him out wide a little bit in that right-hander, and that's going to allow the Red Bull of Daniel Ricciardo, actually, to come past him. I don't see why I did that, though, because, again, let's be honest, and I hate to sound like Fernando Alonso here, I really do, but in a straight line, there's just nothing we can do. Speaking of Fernando Alonso, he's out of the Grand Prix. We'll have to have a look at that in a minute, because Daniel Ricciardo has got all locked up into the final hairpin. Hamilton's back past him, but unfortunately, we weren't able to get the drive, and Ricciardo retains the position ahead of us, and now they're both going to disappear, but it's interesting to be around these top guys, because they appear to run the multiple stop strategy because they can afford to. They're that much faster. And let's have a quick look and see what happened to our dear mate Fernando Alonso in any moment now as we just continue through this nail section. Ericsson up in 12th, so he still hasn't pit. Here we cut to Alonso, and there's the classic sign excuse me, of the McLaren Honda engine failure. It now comes to the end of lap 10, and we're going to see it here. We're just going to dive it into the pits. We do a full Lewis Hamilton. Thankfully, that's now tarmac instead of gravel. And we're going to bring it in, get it nicely slowed down. Make sure to engage the pit limiter. That is one way you can actually bring the speed down. I've tried it. I haven't tried it going full chat, but you can come into the pits quite hot, hit Y, and the car will automatically slow down for the pit limiter. Not the best launch because I've got the manual pit stops as well. We have to reach a certain level of RPM. But we come out ahead of Marcus Ericsson, who's fit the medium tyre. And now, pretty much after that pit stop, it was kind of difficult because the Saubers are that far behind.
We're expecting rain in around 10 to 15 minutes.
So as you hear there, 10 to 15 minutes for the rain that I had mentioned there. But as I say, the Saubers are that much further behind us. And the only guy really that can compete in the same car is out of this race. So
We're expecting it in around 5 minutes. 5 minutes until the rain.
So there we go, a couple of laps later there. Rain is about 5 minutes away. You've got more guys behind us. So Stroll has clearly made a second pit stop. Ocon's made a second pit stop ahead. So it is the aspect there. That's why we're mixing up with these guys. More cars are in the pits. More cars coming out. Felipe Massa coming out now. You can see it's got much more visibly overcast. And Massa here in the Williams, I'm going to decide, do you know what? I'm having this. Take a pop down the inside. I'll take every on-track pass I'm going to get because I don't know if it's going to affect the reputation level. I would assume that's just based upon finishing position. But I'm going to show that even in this equipment, I'm going to fight. And I'm going to try and make it worth my while. So as we double check the weather, we're going to see a Williams, low drag, Mercedes engine, see you bye. Yep, that's... It looked like I was getting out the way. It was more to set up a defensive move into the hairpin, but there was literally no point in doing so. Literally no point. It's... In a couple of seasons' time, it's going to be worth it in a couple of seasons' time when we've actually got a competent engine. But we're not at that point yet as we go 3 wide into turn 1. Grosjean and Hulkenberg, they've made contact. We're going to keep to the inside line. All contact made with Grosjean. Bit of wheel banging, but we're going to keep ahead of both of those guys. I forgot that I cut that so abruptly there. But yeah, battling with the Haas and the Renault. Quite interesting there. And we're now going to come down. This is lap 20. Still ahead of Grosjean. As you can see, Massa has gone in the 2 laps it's been since he overtook me. Grosjean going to come past. Can we make a move into the hairpin? Yes, we can. At this point, I'm really just hindering myself, but it's for fun. I'm going to finish behind these guys anyway, realistically. So, end of lap 20. We're now going to come around the final corner, and we can see it now. There does appear to be some rain. I can see it just now. It's actually started to appear coming down, as we've got Nico Hulkenberg now coming down our inside. And he's gone past us. We're going to again take the wider line, and we're going to try and bring it back through. The grip still apparent. The rain has started to come down really quickly, actually. It's not just been one of those scenarios where it spits for a few laps. It's generally coming down really quickly at this point. And you can see me here. I'm going to swap to the intermediate tyre because it's now the end of lap 21. And we're going to be coming in at the end of this lap. And we've got, you can see the difference there between the cars as Grosjean has disappeared up the road. The stewards now think it's time for intermediates as they've disabled the DRS. There goes Hulkenberg. We're going to brake at the same point we do. We get up on the curb, though, the damp curb, and you can see we've horrendously outbroken ourselves in the hairpin. And that's a little bit embarrassing. Thankfully, as I've mentioned, we're so far ahead of the Saubers, it doesn't really matter. So we're going to be coming in here and we're going to be fitting the intermediate tyre to run for the end of the race. But nicely called, the soft tyres were starting to go off a little bit. They could have done a few more laps, but it was good to note that we were able to pull off that strategy that I wanted. If we were in a slightly more competitive car, could we have got points? Who knows? That's what we're going to need to fight for, though. As we now come in, fit the green-walled intermediate tyre for our second and final pit stop of the race. Much better when it came to the exit that time around. And I'd love to show you much more footage, but that was pretty much the race. If I'm honest, we're going to see the pit exit here because Hulkenberg and myself there, you can see myself with the steering inputs. I really struggled. So did Hulkenberg. He's crawling around this initial section. Not really doing anything too much whatsoever there. And I thought maybe I could get him, but once it got to the middle sector and he found his footing, yeah, he was off to the races. So that was it pretty much for the Chinese Grand Prix. I just drove around in some wet weather, way ahead of the Saubers. Marcus Ericsson did retire, so Wehrlein's behind, and I don't know, there's another driver behind us there who's had a poor Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel won the race, and we're going to come home in 14th. Which again, it's a good finishing position for us as a team. We beat the team objective, and that's all that really matters. We've got to keep the team happy and keep improving this car.
Sebastian Vettel takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship after that excellent result. Now then, Anthony,
So as
who was your driver
David Croft has just confirmed, Sebastian Vettel takes the lead of the Drivers' Championship, and we get driver of the day because we came from 20th to 14th. I don't see, why, but it's whatever. Danny Kvyat getting decent point there. Ocon in the points as well. You can see the guys running the 3-stop. And let's have a little look. It was Lance Stroll who made 5 pit stops today, so he had a pretty awful Grand Prix, and you can see the 4 retirements just there. Palmer, Alonso, Perez, and Ericsson all dropping out of the race. But, 14th, sure we didn't get any points, but it's good to keep going around because we get those extra resource points, and we're leading the driver rivalry versus Fernando Alonso. Here's the reputation that I mentioned. We're getting Force India, apparently. Force India, Haas, and Sauber are the top 3 teams that really like us, so who knows what that will do when it comes to these contract offers. As we go past good old career score, no one really gives a shit about that. But guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you did enjoy. This one's a lot shorter because I haven't got a lot of the intro guff to go with, and there wasn't really much race, especially when it came to sort of like the final 7-8 laps, as it were there. But I'm going to enjoy putting these out. I'm going to keep it 1 a day for now because I'm only available for the next few days, and then I'm not going to be at home for like a week. So I need to realistically spend as much time bulking and stacking them up so I can put them out when I'm not going to be here. But once again, thank you very much. Do leave a like if you have enjoyed and comment any feedback down below. Would very much appreciate it. And subscribe if you want to see more F1 2017 videos on the channel. I will see you all next time.